Alrighty, let's get this started. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for the July webinar. This month we are going to be discussing everything core conversions. I think that can be a scary topic for a lot of banks and credit unions, but I'm going to hand it over to our lovely panelists today to introduce themselves.
We're just it's an informal group here. I'm Jim Panos. I'm president and founder of the agency.
I'm Ryan Weber, senior account executive. I've been here for 9 years. Panos.
I'm Jay Belmere. I'm also an account executive. I've been with Panos for 19 years.
I've been with Panos for 31 years. So I just, I'll see you and raise you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So this is a really a key topic going forward. So many banks, credit unions, any financial institution, when going through a core conversion, whether it's for a core processor change that you're doing, or you're acquiring another institution, or you're being acquired, whatever it might be, oftentimes there's going to be a need to do a core conversion. And what we want to do is kind of take the mystery out of it and take the nerves out of it and let you know that it can be done smoothly and actually be a positive within your organization, as long as you follow some of the key issues, such as continual early and often communication, make it a positive, and ensure that whatever communications you do reflect your brand. That's really important, because your brand is basically your superpower. So you want to make sure everything reflects that as well. But guys, why don't you jump in here and really start, talk a little bit about some of the key points.
All right. Well, it kind of depends on what kind of conversion you're looking at. If it's going to be an acquisition where you're bringing in another institution to be underneath you, and so you have to bring their customers up to speed, or if you're just updating your own core and what goes for that. A lot of it has similar communications and pieces, but how you approach it is going to be separate. If you're looking at an acquisition, and I know Jay just did a huge one recently,
Yeah.
where you're kind of letting these people know, not only are you updating them to the new core system, but all the new products and services that are going to be switching over from where they were with institution A to what they're going to be now with institution B, and making sure you're kind of letting all the groundwork on that. That's key, I think, making sure they're comfortable and that everything makes sense to them, is understandable. Because you're going to have tons of people asking questions, but the main goal, I think, for all these communications is to try to give your customers the answers they need at their fingertips. Yeah. Whether or not it's going to be mailed pieces or digital as well.
Yeah, and I think that's that was a big consideration that we had. Is the institution I was working with was bringing in a smaller bank that was kind of going under their umbrella, and they wanted to make sure they were going to be able to offer their new customers a significant amount of new products and services, improved digital access, all these kind of things. So it was a benefit. It was a bonus to these customers, and that was the main message that we wanted to do. In addition, they wanted to make sure that they could, because this was coming from a slightly smaller institution, they were concerned about how they were going to communicate it. Is email going to be as effective? How many customers were actually using email broadcast? So all those kind of things. So we had to really take a very holistic look at the entire process and make sure that we were addressing knowing their customer base as effectively as they do, best way to communicate that. And as Jim had said, frequently and as early as possible, because people are going to read an email in one ear out the other. They're going to get a piece in the mail. They're going to take a quick glance at it and move on to the bill they have to deal with. So it was really making sure you had enough touch points and that those touch points were accurately and thoroughly planned out leading up to the entire conversion process, leading up to that weekend where everything switched over.
Play off what you said as well, actually, about knowing your customer base, knowing how many of your customers do you have their emails for. You'd be surprised at how many institutions don't have, over 50%.
Yeah.
And so maybe you start off by an early letter requesting someone to log in, set up online banking so that you're getting their email system if they haven't already. Just little steps like that at the very beginning, you're laying the groundwork. They know something's coming down the pike, and you're giving them an ask. You're letting them know we're going to do a lot of new communication, and email is great, and digital in general. Because if they have online banking, when they go to log in, you can have a little piece right there that just kind of reminds them of the upcoming conversion. Simple link right there. Go to a microsite that you lay out all the changes, the dates, what's going on for consumer, what's going on for business, FAQ page. If you have more in depth where you're going to have we've done a few where we've actually had enough videos from the new core site conversion process where it had videos of how to set yourself up to log into that new system. That's not often, but we had a couple times where we had our own page where it was like here's a library of informational videos to watch.
Yeah.
I think, and Ryan touched on something that I think is really important, because oftentimes people say, "I will just toss a page on our website." Well, you toss a page on your website, it's just going to be out there, and you have to obviously drive them to that and hope it's going to be there. But oftentimes by doing a microsite, or depending on the complexity of it, if it's not all that complex, you could maybe do a landing page or a 2-page landing page, which is basically what a microsite is. But to be able to have that information on, not just with the video, if you're going to be changing products, or if you have a large conversion booklet, there's a lot of things changing. You want to be able to take that booklet and perhaps put a flip page booklet on your microsite so people can read it there. Because oftentimes they're going to get something in the mail, they're going to be inundated, they're going to see this big booklet, they're going to say, "I don't need to read a 28-page booklet. Oh my God." And so the key here is to make it as easy as possible for your customer base, and if you're acquiring an organization, the new organization's customer base, because a bumpy conversion during an acquisition could lead to loss of clients in them going to other banks or credit unions because they don't want to deal with it. And your bank or credit union has just purchased, or that bank paid an awful lot of money for it. You don't want to start losing customers before you even get them into your new system. So it's really important that communication, that early and often communication, is so critical. And having that a place for them to go where they can get all the information at their fingertips is really, really great. Because again, a landing page is great, or a microsite, because somebody can look at it on their phones, on their laptops, on their iPads. They don't have to go around and try to find a piece of mail that may have come in, which you're going to do anyways. But getting that out there is really going to help on the communications.
And having touch points wherever they're going to be. If they're on mobile, make sure your mobile app has a reminder. It's a little ad right there. It talks about it, links to the microsite pages. And separating the content up, I think we found works really well, so that if you're a business customer, you don't have to scroll through endless amount of personal information before you get to what is really going to change you and what you need to do. And same thing, reversely, if you're for your personal customer, you don't want to have to scroll through all the business stuff. So we find separating it into two houses, so to speak, for personal and business works really well. And also, like for the booklet and all material in general, you want it to be inviting. You don't want it just to be here's an 8.5 by 11 sheet of nothing but copy. People, like Jim said, look at it and you have to put it down. You want it to be inviting. You want someone to go, "Oh, what's this?" And, engage them. You want them to kind of want to keep on reading. You don't want to just have paragraph after paragraph of content. You want to be able to break it up so it's easier to digest.
Yeah, take a little time to design it.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you're introducing your brand to a large number of new customers, and you want to be able to make sure that your messaging is on point, that you're making them comfortable with something that could be a little bit alarming when they first start out. You're putting them at ease. You're making sure that they're aware that this is something that's ultimately going to be in their best interest. It's going to serve them better, give them access to better products and services. And it's a win-win. But do that in a way that's going to make sure that it's going to tie in with any other points of communication that you're doing. Is your branch staff appraised of what's going on? Do you have a call center that people may be checking in on a regular basis? They may get these things and get nervous, and you may have a number of customers that are of a certain demographic that they want to go in and speak to somebody, or they want to call and get some information. Make sure that your team is well appraised, that they have access to the information that they would need, and be prepared to field any kind of questions. And again, put those customers at ease.
And it's not just when there's an acquisition.
Yeah.
When you're changing your core system to a different processor, going from Fiserv to Jack Henry or whatever it might be, that's going to be a change for your existing customers or members. You've got to make sure that they are comfortable there. It's not just about losing customers that you may have acquired through an acquisition. It's also losing existing customers who see all of this, get scared by it, aren't sure what's going on, and all of a sudden start looking around for another another financial institution. So you want to make sure that, again, as we've said, you want to get out there early, often, and always have the customer in mind when you're doing it. Now, again, we've done a ton of these. I don't mean to, and this is just letting you know, Ryan is just about ready to finish one down, I think, in Virginia, right?
Yeah, I think it happened over the weekend.
Yeah. And Jay, you just finished a large one in Minnesota, right? And so all of them are different. They all have a different flavor. We did the one in Minnesota involved 4 different banks or something, didn't it? Is that?
Yeah, there were multiple banks.
Yeah, there were multiple
within
banks that were
umbrella.
changing to the same core processor. So there's all sorts of ones that are out there that can be handled and can be communicated in the best way possible. So, and I know one thing we haven't touched on, and we will, and I'm going to just mention it now so that we don't forget, and that's the regulatory hurdles that will be coming up. You need to make sure that what you're doing not only is communicating to your customers, your acquired customers and or members, but it's also compliant with the rules and regulations of the government to make sure that you are doing the right job communicating with your existing customers who are being affected.
Regulation DD, that's the main one that you want to focus on. That's 30 days out. So what we always try to do is make sure, and for this is the big piece. This is the big piece. This is for us. Usually it's the actual booklet where you're spelling every change out, every step the customer needs to do, every date, every hurdle that could be in their way. They're getting this booklet 30 days plus from the data conversion. That way they can plan accordingly. You're stressing them, hey, our ATMs are going to be down, so you might want to have some cash ready for this weekend. You can go to other ATMs and you can get some minimum cash out. I think each one's a little different.
And you can refund foreign ATM fees, for instance, for that weekend.
But you're not going to be able to access your actual account information. So you won't know, oh, how much do I have left? You're not going to be able to see that during weekend conversions.
Yeah,
So
online banking going to be down, same kind of stuff.
You need to make sure you're stressing to these customers what, when, and where.
Yeah.
And I think that booklet is the main thing that we always, that's for us what we use as the main piece. Because this way they have every piece of information they have at their fingertips, 30 days out at minimum. And then after that, we do a lot of follow-ups of communications. Like, don't forget this weekend. If there is a step that they need to take, I've had a couple where they need to re-register prior to the actual conversion. And so we included a link in the email. Don't forget to re-register here. And we link
online banking.
And we include that link as well on the microsite so that no matter where you are, you have access to that information on the phone.
Don't forget, the first mailer, which we usually send out months in advance, save the date, whatever it might be, that can go out standard rate post. That could be a postcard or something with a little information in it. And then make sure your branch is aware of what's going on. But what Ryan's talking about, that booklet, that however many page booklet, we've had them up to 48 pages, has to go out first class. And you can't mess around with this because you try to send it out and save some postage because you could be sending out 10, 15, 20,000 pieces. And it's going to cost a little bit more money to send it out first class. But the way the post office now is with standard rate postage, you're not sure when that's going to arrive. Even if you give it a week in advance before that 30-day notice, that could show up 29 or 28 days prior to the conversion because it's standard rate, in which case you'd be in violation and you could get dinged by the regulators. So please always focus on getting first class postage when you're doing that second mailer, the one that has the booklet.
And then if you also, we've also done orders 2 booklets where it's a fee. All the fees are schedules are changing, and that in itself could be a separate booklet.
Yeah, and we've done booklets that are both, there's one for commercial lending, commercial banking, and one for the retail group. So, it depends on your bank. When we do them, we customize them any way you need. And again, going back to what Ryan was saying, make sure it's inviting, do a little design with it, and give it your brand. And that to me is a key piece because people will feel more comfortable knowing it's coming from you.
Yes. Yeah, definitely want people to don't think that this is a scam. Or
So. And I think too, it's also important just to kind of remember, we're talking kind of very large picture, significant changes. There are sometimes maybe your core provider, you're staying with your same core provider, but you're doing an upgrade. Maybe it's a product upgrade within the same core provider. so maybe the changes for your customers aren't that significant, relatively speaking. Their account will be changing, their account number will be the same, all that kind of stuff. It's still important to communicate this stuff because you need to make them aware, because if there's any kind of hiccup or anything like that, giving them that awareness ahead of time makes you look like you are in control, you know what's going on, you've given them the information that they need, you're being proactive in that case. So, whether it's a significant change or even something that would be considered minor, it's really the same level of importance to make sure that you're making those communications as often, as frequently as possible.
Yeah, 100%. Email, postcard, letters, everything you could possibly do. Especially email is great, especially if your base is stronger than the digital. Because that's the easiest way to get something out to your customer base. You don't have to worry about shipping. It's hitting right when you can't tell it hit.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about any kind of postage. You don't have to worry about printing. It's great. It's so much easier that way. And it also helps to do a good follow-up with this as well after the conversion weekend. Give it a week just to make sure that everyone's logging back in. Has there been any hiccup? What's going on that end? And that way you address those issues. Again, you want them to feel comfortable. You don't want your customers to feel like you didn't know what was going on. Like, oh yeah, we knew this would out. That's why you're getting this right now.
And you're also providing them with follow-up contact points too. It's like, if you are still experiencing any issues or something like that, stop by one of your local branches, call our call center, speak to, somebody within the branch, that kind of stuff. You're making sure that they feel that they're being heard and can get any issues that they have that are going to be addressed by the bank staff.
I think for me, as working here in finance, the earlier we can start on this conversation, the better. Like I said, we just finished a great one where we almost started working on this about 11 months ago. And it was great. There was no stress. The team at the institution they knew what they were doing, even though they've never done one before. They were on top of all the questions that we have for them.
They actually listened to us.
They listened. It was great. It was awesome. We had no problems with getting, we weren't waiting till the last minute, like, this needs to go to the printer today at 5, and it was 4:55. You're still waiting on, something from a new product name or something. It's great. I can't stress that enough. Start early, as early as you possibly can, to have a conversation with your team as well.
And what they did, if I'm not mistaken, they sent out a mailer last year, and here we are in July. It was prior to the holidays to try to get email addresses
Exactly. That's what
from their customers who they don't have, to build up that inventory of email addresses so that when the conversion is starting to roll, we have them to send out on their behalf to their customer base. So again, start early. I can't stress that enough. If your conversion is happening in October, it's too late. Start now, okay? Get off this call and start. But seriously, if you're looking forward, you've got a date, take a step back about 6 to 8 months beyond and just start organizing it. Again, in the direct mail Ryan was talking about, usually there's two, right? There's the postcard, which is save the date, 4 to 6 months.
I think we've done like 3 we've done up to 4.
Yeah.
But I think typically we do at least a minimum of 2 where we try to have, like you said, the save the date / coming soon message that's in a postcard, and then we have the big mailing piece.
And then you can even follow up that one
with a reminder
postcard 2 weeks out. Say it's like, all right, don't forget, this is coming. Reach out to us for questions. If you have any concerns, visit this microsite. Any of those kind of things. It's just, I mean, with the amount of information that people are being hit with every day, it doesn't hurt to just kind of stay on top of it.
Right. Get signage out in your branches.
Yes.
Okay. 22 by 28, 1114 easel back, whatever it is. Get it in your drive-through. Put signs at your ATM or
digital screens.
Whatever it might be. Get the information out there. And so again, can't stress that the more your customers know, the smoother the process will go. I like that rhyme.
That's nice.
All right. Emma, could you write that down? Yeah, okay.
I love that.
So I think it's a process. And one thing I want to just offer to the group here, whether you're in person listening to us or it's those people who may receive the recording, or everybody's going to receive it. But is if you have questions, if you're going through one, don't be afraid to give us a call to talk to us. We're not going to charge you. We're not going to start the clock running, any of that stuff. Again, I'm a former banker. I was in banking for a number of years. I've done a couple of conversions. I know how important it was to be able to find people who have done these before to help me go through them. So if you have any questions, just reach out to the agency. We have a contact form on our website. Emma usually gets those. She'll forward it to whoever she thinks is right. We'll get back to you and we'll answer any questions you need without worry about any obligation or anything like that. Of course, if you want us to help you, we will. But I'm not saying we will help you in any way we can, because we feel that strongly about working with, because all we do is work with banks and credit unions. So I feel real strongly to make sure those conversions go smoothly and nobody gets dinged, whether it's, again, a change of core, upgrade of core, or an acquisition. So,
That's a great.
anybody have any questions?
Could you guys maybe speak to a few of some of the common missteps that you've seen, or maybe ways that people could avoid some during the conversion process or the merger and acquisition process?
I'll start.
All right, you go for it.
Taking it too lightly.
Yes.
Okay, just thinking, all right, no, I'll get to that. It's going to be on my to-do list, or I'll give it to somebody else. Take control, take ownership, go after it, and start right away and get your ducks in a row. Do not take it lightly. That to me is one of the key pieces, because oftentimes a lot of, life gets in the way, work gets in the way. I've got to get this campaign going. I've got to do this. I've got to, I've got people out sick today. We understand that, but put this on your priority list.
Yes. It's starting sooner. And also, I've come across a couple institutions that didn't quite realize how much work it is on their behalf that they have to do themselves. Get a team behind you.
Yeah.
Get a good team at the institution so everyone can kind of take a little chunk at a time. Because there's a lot of questions that we will have that we need to know and that we're going to be asking you, and then you're going to in turn have to go to your new provider. So it's a lot of work. It's not, what Jim says, it's not something just like, don't worry about it until later. It's a lot. So you want to be careful and you want to stay on top.
I think, to build on that too, just your team, understand that it's going to be, personal account managers. It's going to be business account managers. It's going to be potentially mortgage lenders. Are there going to be any changes in terms of how people pay for their, where they're sending their mortgage payment in, all that kind of stuff. So if you're going to need a team at the bank, at your institution to review the content that you're going to be sending out to your customers, make sure that they're aware that, they may be have some responsibility to make sure that all the information is complete and correct.
And assemble that team soon. Don't wait. Get a team together who's going to be supporting you and in the bank and through this whole process, because you want to be able to get approvals quickly. You don't want to have to wait for compliance and all of those things. You want to get a compliance person with you. You've got to get anybody who can make the decisions if you can't, so that you can get that thing up, running, mailed, whatever it might be.
Yep.
Just one more other thing, my opinion is don't underestimate your front end staff either. They're going to be there. A lot of them are still making the regular face-to-face contact with your customers on a daily basis. Make sure they're aware of what's going on. Have them, come up with a script that maybe they can refer to, to reassure that your customers that they're aware of what's going on, the benefits of what's going to be happening, all that kind of stuff. Because it's those personal relationships that I think a lot of our customers try to build with their customers, that it's going to go a long way to kind of making sure that it's a smooth transition from how it comes across.
What are some of the most critical communication touch points before, during, and after that should be addressed?
I think we've said enough there.
Yeah. Direct mail, email, signage, statements, bank statements,
The booklet,
booklet,
microsite.
your website, your microsite, your branch personnel, your call center, and there's more.
Digital banner ads for your social, or
Yeah,
not your social.
That's
for
right,
your,
your social media.
Social media, if you have a strong following, that's not a bad idea. To do organic, you don't want to do an ad campaign for that. But also for your mobile banking, a banner ad there. When you go to log in for online banking, a banner ad right there. Just little touch points to kind of always be there in front of them.
And I think one more might be a great way to kind of round things off is, how can an FI ensure that their messaging is clear and consistent across all of these channels?
Working with us, obviously.
He said that, I didn't, but I think overall, have a team pulled together that maybe one of them isn't deep into this. They may be just like an innocent bystander who's just there to help you, but let them then look at it as a customer and make sure that their mindset is focused not on what you guys have been working on these last 4 or 5 months or whatever it may be, that you're actually, looking at it, okay, this is clear. This does tell me what I need to do, and make sure that you have someone at the bank who can do that for you. If you are using an agency, ensure that they're involved in that as well. I'm sure they've got a number of people who can proof your materials, ensure it is clear, concise, and talk to them as well. So I just, again, not as Ryan said, call us, but no, if you're using an agency, you're comfortable with another agency, make sure you're using them to assist you with that clear, concise messaging, because you don't want it to be cloudy or people have to have doubts as to what day is the conversion happening, or how do I didn't know, I couldn't get to my ATM today, and all of that. So
it kind of taking that a little bit step further is we all live in the world of the banking industry, so we speak. Your customers don't. So we want to make sure that you kind of speak to whatever's happening in their language. So it's easier for them to understand. Like realistically, no one understands what a core conversion is. I think that's like what I was talking about.
It's an apple, right?
Yeah. I always treat, whenever I talk to someone who is not in the world of the banking industry, I'm like, it's like you're updating the operating system for your computer or your phone. You're going from Android to Apple, PC to Apple, whatever. Like it's like that's basically what you're doing. Is you're changing how that works. But try to say that's the systems upgrades, technology upgrade. It's like,
and how it's going to benefit the customer or the member. How will it benefit them? Because they will listen a little more and absorb more if they see that it's going to be something that benefits them. Oh wow! And maybe you're getting online account opening, or you're upgrading your online lending applications through this whole core process or processing change. Those are all positives. Bring that up. Always don't just sit there and give them all the regulatory stuff that they need to know. Tell them some of the things that's going to help them and make their lives easier and better.
stress the positive.
Exactly.
100%.
And even too, it's like stress the things that won't be changing. I mean, as much as good stuff, it's like
Good point.
you won't be getting a new debit card. Your account number won't be changing. Kind of reassure them that, okay, some of the stuff is going to
Which
be happening.
sometimes it does happen.
Well, sometimes, right, I mean, it does. But if it doesn't, then it's like some of those things. It's like, okay, don't worry, you're getting all this bonus stuff, but some of your main things, may not be affected. So.
And I actually do have a question from one of our participants here, Lauren. So Lauren says, we are getting ready to go through a core conversion. We've been told by the new core provider not to use social media to communicate with customers about upcoming changes due to the fact that it opens you up for fraud. What are you seeing in regards to utilizing social media for core conversion communications?
For me, it tends to be minimal. It's more social, like a post from the actual institution themselves. It's not anything, put any money behind it in the sense of a boosted post even.
Yeah.
It's just a simple message.
To your member.
It's great. It's because for the most part, if someone's following you on social media, they're a customer.
Yeah, it's just generic information.
Yeah.
It's all about the date and all that. I don't think that we have not encountered, and we've been doing core conversions for well over a decade, and have not encountered any fraud with any social media posts at all. And again, the posts are very generic, just nothing to give them anything that they might be able to draw into PII or anything like that. So I don't think it's an issue. But on the other hand, if you're concerned, don't do it, because that's not the biggest way to communicate with people. I think we talked a lot about those other pieces that are going to be far more important for you. But if you're concerned, then just skip the social media and just put your energy behind the direct mail, the posts on online banking, and all of the other things that we've talked about. There's so much, the email, statement stuff, or a statement message, or whatever it might be. I know not everybody has paper statements, but they're still out there, and a number of our clients get a stuffer in there. It's just an e-statement. Make sure that it's stated in there. So those are the things I think that really make an impact. So, but social media, we've done it. We've seen no fraud. And
Yeah,
I
I don't think
was,
I've ever.
no, we would have known. They would
Yeah.
have, we would have.
I like to think they would have told us.
But again, it is just another piece of the pie that you have to pull together, and it's a kind of a small piece at that.
I think we've kind of covered a lot today and a lot of really important information. Again, to kind of reiterate with what Jim said, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out to any one of us. Our emails are first letter of our first name, last name @panosmarketing.com. We also have a website, form on our website to fill out should you have any questions. I want to thank everyone for joining us. And do you guys want to kind of add one last thought before we hop off?
There's going to be a test.
Closing statement.
Frequently, often, communication,
Early.
early, often, yes.
Build a calendar, have that calendar, establish that early on, and then just kind of follow that as closely as you can going up to the actual date.
And call us with any questions, seriously. And if you need some help, you let us know.
Great. Well, thank you
Cool.
guys so much, and we will catch you guys next time.
Thanks so
Thanks,
much for attending and listening to us.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Have a great day.
Bye.